Hello, everybody. Welcome. People are all waiting to log in, which is absolutely fantastic. I'll just let people join. Welcome to Park Lane Events webinar for January, the 11th of January, 2023. I have got various slides to show. So once everybody is coming in, the numbers are quickly clicking up there actually. People are saying hello, great, the chat's working this time. I had an upgrade last time and the chat wasn't working. So do feel free to say hello in the chat. Hi Candice, hi Rachel, hi Kate, and you can choose whether to click on to say hello to everyone or to say hello to just the host. So Rachel, you've just said hello to hosts and panelists, and I know you'll want to say hello to everyone. So on your chat box, anybody that wants to say hello to everybody, do make sure that on your chat box it says to, and then the drop down it says hello to everyone. And brilliant venues are saying hello as well. Do say your name, where you're from, and all that kind of thing. And of course you can have chats and things as things are going on. So Danielle, thank you. Danielle's on the webinar today, so thank you for being able to attend as well. So let's get cracking. We've got lots of people chatting away there, so brilliant, and loads of people are in. Got 60 in, so let's crack on. I've had 130 that registered, which is just insane, and super grateful. So with that, let's start. There is, as always, quite a lot. I am recording it, so it will go out to everybody afterwards. I'm going to start sharing the screen. There's loads of information to go through. So there we go. Can you see the Park Lane Events logo, so then I can see that you're all able to see the screen? Yep, and some thumbs up. Nice, fancy. Okay, so today's webinar, January 2023. This is the agenda that we've got for today. So we're going to do an update on event availability, staffing and planning for this time of year. Hurrah in January 2023. This is going to be a great year. Update on the next quarter and the rest of the year. And this includes the various bank holidays and things that we've got in May and how that's going to affect the conference diary. Big chunk on sustainability. What are venues doing and how can we make an impact on our events? So the first couple of slides are going to be super quick, so we can crack on with that. Quick industry exhibitions update. I would like to share where I'm going to be. I'd like to hear what other people are going to, what attending, what exhibitions people recommend. And then lastly, latest trends, which again is going to be super quick, just because there's such a huge chunk on sustainability. Anna Peters, I'm really glad you've managed to make it from Evolve. She's not really well, and so thank you. That's the nicest thing about webinar. You can just sit with your coffee or tea. Nobody has to see you at all, and it's just sit back, relax, absorb the information. If anybody wants to take pictures, please do share them on your socials. Of course, I love that. I love to see which bits are more valuable, and that helps me with the next ones as well. I do send this to everybody as well, whether you can make it or not. It does go up on the website as well. I have a YouTube channel, Park Lane Events, so it is out there, so it's accessible to everybody. It's literally half an hour, and I am going to sort of, really go through the information today. So just so that everybody's aware who's on, who are, obviously you can use the chat, you don't have to use the chat at all. You are here because you're either a corporate event buyer who I venue find for, you might be a corporate event buyer who I network with, but you may book directly with venues or through another agency. You may work for a venue or a venue group or a venue consortium or a DMC, you're in my network. Or you're an agent or freelancer and part of my peer network, and that's what this is all about, just sharing information. I found it super useful during COVID. It was the only way that it kept me saying to keep in contact with people, and it just kind of grew from there, which is brilliant. I didn't think I was going to do them after COVID finished, but it's just been great to be able to keep connected to everybody in this way. Who knew, hey, that this was actually going to work. Big shout out to all the people who have joined from the BNC emails. So the BNC sent out 2 emails with these details on just before Christmas, just after. So big shout out to them, and hello to anybody that's joined from that, because I'm a big advocate of them, and we all share each other's work, which is fantastic. So thank you for those. But as I said, it's mainly so that we can all keep in contact and we can all try and keep in up to date with what's going on. Feel free to use the chat for feedback as well. So update on event availability, staffing and planning for this time of year. Things are definitely getting better. I think we've all found that now. The norm now is around a 24-hour turnaround for inquiries from venues. It used to be obviously a few days. It used to be 7 days. We can firmly put our back to that now, move forward, strive forwards with some venues even back to their 4-hour turnarounds, which is amazing. Venues are still likely to be responding in order of the date of the event rather than when they receive the inquiry. This is not new to some, this might be new to others. And this, of course, was happening at the end of December. If I was putting inquiries through for, say, May or June for my clients for this year, but obviously, you know, with staff and everything, they were just really reacting to their Christmas events that were taking place, and we're like, okay, that's May next year, we'll get back to you at another time, which obviously delays that proposal when people are trying to get things signed off before Christmas. But that's, you know, that's the peak time for the venues it was, and so now we're all again looking forward, which is fantastic. One thing I do recommend for corporates as well, so I flip between, in one new to webinars, I flipped in what do I recommend to venues, what do I recommend for corporates. Do try and keep venues, when you're doing venue finding, doing it direct with an agent through me, do keep venues updated, ideally at least every 2 weeks. That is the ideal of when your next decision is going to be made. Or if you don't know, if you know, look, I'm going to be on holiday, we're not having a meeting for another 3 weeks. If when you're replying to the venue, thanks for the quote, we will now know, I'll be able to get back to you in the next 3 weeks, or if you can put a date. And again, some people do this already, it's not new. A lot of people don't realise how helpful that is for venues. And obviously that saves the venue chasing you if you're a corporate buyer and you're like, I know I'm not going to know for 3 weeks, so can you hold it for that time? And most venues will be able to do that. Or they would just contact you and say, well, we have another inquiry, can you let us know by this date when that happens? So it's just keeping that communication, and that avoids everybody's emails going crazy, which we all want to avoid. And then just to sort of summarize corporate events for 2023, what I have found is a lot of corporate companies are merging some of their events, or perhaps having fewer, but then their events might be slightly larger, and perhaps meatier in some of their content. And some of this is due to they're not quite sure of delegate numbers, so rather than having a couple events that are 50 each, perhaps every quarter, it might be they're just going to do one larger one, and they'll probably get like 80 people, at 80 to 100 attending that one, and then they can focus a lot of that marketing and sign up, of course, for that one event. Having said that, the caveat is sometimes then some smaller events are, you know, quickly coming in for those last minute turnarounds. So feel free to comment if you agree, disagree, and what you're finding either from a venue, or if you're booking that yourself, you might be nodding going yes, or actually no, not in my company. So the more feedback I get, the more accurate this can be as well. So then looking at what venues are doing as well, the greatest thing about the time, let's just say the last few years, is the investment that has been able to take place with a lot of venues and their staff, and the refurbishment as well. But just to sort of highlight some big hotels there, Hilton Park Lane is mentioning their whole hotel will be shut due to refurbishments of the bedrooms and lobby, and the Ritz is closing their space, their event space, for 2 years for a complete refurb. So we kind of think a lot of the stuff's been done now, because the COVID was a good time to get that done for those that could afford it. However, it's still actually, I think we're having a big sort of change in structure of the venues now over the next couple of years, as well as those that have established themselves have realised, right, we're here to stay. Those that then can plan better now ahead, and that includes the refurbishment, retaining their staff as well. And I talk about this a little bit more at the trends at the end of it. So yeah, new year, of course, lots of it's a really good time for people to move around and get new jobs. So I'm seeing a lot of that on LinkedIn as well, people moving around as expected. And this is going to be one thing I've always said was 2022 was the rebuild, and this year's the sort of settling year, and it is you know, the first full calendar year for events. I think we're really excited about that. So then just going on to May, that's, you know, that's really what's happening with the next quarter rather than this quarter. We have, just to highlight, and this came up in some conversation with Eventpros Live. Hello, Eventpros Live ladies. We have got 3 bank holidays in May. Again, some people might be aware, more of a personal point of view, people might be aware, but actually on a corporate point of view, it's quite important. We've obviously got the usual bank holiday at the beginning of May, then the coronation is on the Saturday the 6th of May, so then we've got the bank holiday on the Monday, and then the 29th of May that goes into the first week of June, is that the usual spring bank holiday and half term. So what sort of we gathered from that is that there are only 2 full weeks of May, when sometimes you say, oh, we want to avoid bank holidays or you know, half terms and things. The 2 weeks that you're looking at is the week commencing the 15th and 22nd of May for your full corporate week, even if you're only doing an evening event or one day event. And so this is going to have a knock-on effect to June, and pushing more of those full weeks into June as well. Yeah, Kate, June is going to be super busy. You're absolutely right. I'm trying to catch the little chats as they come through. So yes, June, thank you, Kate, you preempted what I was going to put. June has 20 fully sellable corporate days for venues to sell. And it's harsh, sounds harsh, but get it booked if you can. By the end of January, the dates will probably, your key dates, your peak dates will probably gone, if they've not gone already. So this is just your top tip. Get those dates in the diary, start those provisional bookings, hold for at least 2 weeks if you can while you're starting to get those decisions, get those sites visit done. Obviously, that's what I'm here to help with, or your venue finder, or you're doing it direct. So yeah, just shout if anybody needs any support there. My biggest advice is try not to leave your summer event to just before Easter. That's always a really peak time. I get a big influx then, actually, and we're all trying to finish before Easter, and your decision makers are trying to finish, or your decision maker and you're trying to finish before Easter, and it is hard because people right now who are making the decisions are like, oh no, June's ages away. But we know, as the proactive people, no, now's the time to be doing it. So yeah, top tip again, if you can leave it, if you can not leave it until just before Easter, because it will be quite a scrum for days. So on to sustainability, and I just want to say a big thank you to Danielle. I've got her details here. Her details will be after the next element as well. We did a pre-recorded chat. Now, I used to do these in lockdown when the webinars were longer, and we obviously had a lot more to go through with the lockdown, what it meant, what we could and couldn't do and everything, and we were trying to sort of work that out. And so I brought it back. This is just a quick 10-minute chat, and I'm kind of firing questions at Danielle on this, and I really wanted to talk more about each element, but just for the purpose of this webinar, and just that you get a snapshot about sustainability, sort of things that she does, what she recommends, and her contact details will be afterwards, and you will get a recording of this. So on to the next slide. I'm now going to play this, so let me know if you can't hear anything. So this is our chat. Can you hear this okay?
We've got so many corporate event buyers and venues that have signed up, and freelancers and agencies. So I think a lot of that is due to the sustainability element of this webinar. So we are going to try and keep it short and snappy, but there's still a lot of really important information to get out there. So first of all, if you'd like to introduce yourself, very briefly say what you do, and then the questions that I ask you will lead into how you can help people as well.
Super. Nice to see you. Hi everyone, Happy New Year. So my name is Danielle Ward. I am the founder of Reward Events. So Reward is a sustainable event management and consultancy business. So we help venues, corporate event planners, suppliers, anyone really that wants to make their events and their businesses more sustainable. So that can be working in a consultancy capacity, outsource all your events to me if you know you're running out of time, or helping you find sort of sustainable venues, sustainable suppliers to work with. But it's all under the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals. We use that as a sort of a guiding platform, really. Yeah, so that's me. Started in 2020, the best year to launch an event business, but no, it's been fantastic, and obviously building off last year's momentum. So really looking forward to this year.
Brilliant, thank you. So when finding a venue, I know we've talked about accreditations and things, and it's quite confusing out there. There's so much accreditations that venues have and haven't got, and perhaps not talking about as well. So what do corporate buyers need to account for when it comes to accreditations? Are there any key ones, and what ones should venues be striving for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, accreditation, I think, is just a really important sort of seal of approval, really. I recently have become accredited, and I just sort of think it really helped having that sort of external view, and that sort of approval stamp. But I look for the EcoSmart, so Greengage's EcoSmart accreditation, and that takes into account everything from your food, your energy, you know, how you how you're promoting sustainability within your venue. So it's a really, really a great accreditation that you can work towards, and it's not about that sort of that end goal. It's all about that sort of that progress and that journey. And they're very much about building a network, so that once you're on that journey, that you can work with other suppliers and other venues and sort of really get that best practice, which I think is really important in this space.
That sounds brilliant. And what sustainable venues were most popular for you last year? Is there any particular one that stuck out last year for you that were doing it really well?
Yeah, I did a great a great event with the IET, Savoy Place. Fantastic venue, and a lot of sustainability obviously is collecting that data, which can be a big headache for a lot of event planners. When you're wanting to capture the carbon footprint, you really need, you're only as good as the data you can get from your suppliers and venues. And honestly, I had a few meetings with Savoy Place, and they came to the meetings every time with meter readings, with their wastage reports. I mean, it was fantastic. So definitely working with a venue that sustainability is front and centre is a huge it's a huge leap forward in terms of helping you with your event planning. But yes, Savoy Place, IET, definitely check those out, because it's a huge space, loads of versatile options, and sustainability is absolutely paramount. And I do think they're a Platinum Eco Smart venue as well, so they make the whole sustainability piece a lot easier.
I learned actually at the sustainability show that Platinum is like the highest that you can get, and that's actually more about the people working together as well, not just the the food waste and the actionable things, but actually them all working together as as a community in the property, in the hotel as well. So
yeah, absolutely, it's that culture thing. There's only so much that you can do. You've got bricks and mortar, and you've got your waste policies and what you're doing with your food and how it's sourced, but actually having that message and that culture embedded in your staff, and actually how important they take that in their day-to-day job. That's the difference between a gold and a platinum venue, that they're just taking it to that next level, and you can feel it when you're in those venues.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And are you seeing any new trends, or what would you like to see more of from a venue this year that will support corporate buyers to choose their venue for a more sustainable events?
I think the biggest thing is we're not talking about it enough. I think we do a lot of how can I be more sustainable, what can I do, but then I think everyone sort of disappears into a hole and waits until they've completed it, and there's no completing sustainability. Unfortunately, it's an ever-changing feast, and it's a constant journey. So when we talk about this progress, not perfection, that really needs to be reflected in everyone's marketing. So if you're a venue and you may not have an accreditation yet, but you're working towards something, or you may not have a food waste policy in place yet, but you are sourcing your supplies locally, or you're working with sustainable suppliers, or you've got a green energy tariff, but you may not have solar panels. It's not about striving for the best. Sorry, it is about striving for the best, but it's also about documenting what you're doing in the meantime. So don't let that put you off, and make sure that you're sort of sharing that story, because that's really encouraging for other people. It brings other people on the journey. I do look for accreditations. I think it's really helpful. But if you don't have an accreditation, but you can talk to me about what you're doing and your policy and what your aims are, I would still want to work with someone like that, because it's important to them. So definitely sharing that in your marketing, talking more. So many people have a sustainability policy, but it's not on their website, which is really difficult. When you're looking at sustainable venue, I only work sustainable venues and only sustainable suppliers. But if it's not on your website or your Instagram page, or in any of your marketing, how do people know to reach you? And time is money. We haven't got time to do all of that research. You need to tell us. So definitely get your sustainability messages out there, even your imperfect ones, because as I say, it's all about progress, not perfection.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. It's something I've mentioned before on the webinars is having it up on the website, and where it's easy to find, because unfortunately you have to do 2 or 3 clicks before you even find that sustainability policy, and it should be on the front page somewhere really easy to see. Because as you say, it means that they're working towards something, so you can already go, right, I can definitely do a venue find here, because they've got their sustainability information on there. As you say, even if it's only a bit, they'll be doing so much more, because of how much it's still changing and how much we're all doing. So then finally, how can you help support corporate event buyers and venues with their education in being able to offer more sustainable events?
Yeah, Totally. So my business sort of model fits into consultancy, event management, and education and training. So I'm planning to launch a carbon literacy training course this year. So I recently became carbon literate myself at the end of last year, and would love to sort of tailor an event specific course so that people can join that. But I think it's really important for us to be able to be confident when we're talking about carbon. You know, what is a carbon emission? What is a carbon footprint? What the greenhouse effect? You know, what does that all mean? Because I think that really helps with being able to make those changes. You know, what's it all about and why now? So definitely look out for that coming in the next couple of months. But equally, if you want to have a chat with me, whether you're a venue, whether you're a corporate event buyer, just to sort of go through, how can I make my next event more sustainable? Who could I be working with to help that happen? I have a training course called Next Steps to Net Zero. We're all gunning towards that net zero goal, and so working with someone to sort of help you get there and having a sort of a program in place can really help sort of speed that up. So yes, I'm happy to help anybody on the call with any of that sort of consultancy or training, education workshop for yourself or for your team. Whatever works for you. Happy to sort of make something bespoke for you.
On top of that, saying, I think that's where having somebody like you that can give a bespoke approach, because every company is different, everybody's company's got their own different targets, and then they're using different venues that have got their own different targets and approaches, and it all just seems like there's all this stuff going on out there, but we all need clear paths, and someone like you to help us, like, almost hold our hands a bit and go, right, this is the priority, this is what you can do, this is what we're all working towards, and help put some sort of structure and plan and focus in place, which as event buyers and sellers we all love. So this has been absolutely brilliant, and I appreciate we've only just touched the surface here. We've not done you and I could talk hours about every single element, so much more detail. So this has been absolutely brilliant to give everyone a bit of a taster of some of the stuff that you can talk about. I know there'll be people on the call that will want to reach out to you afterwards to dive deeper into what they're doing and how you can help them, either as a venue or a corporate event buyer with the training or consultants or a bespoke package of some sort. So how can anybody find you? Put your details on after this anyway, but how can people find you so they can connect with you?
Yeah, super. So Danielle Ward on LinkedIn, rewardevents.co.uk is the website, at Reward Events on, I think, pretty much everything, Instagram, Facebook. And if you do want to email me, danielle@rewardevents.co.uk, I'd love to hear from you.
Brilliant. You're such a superstar, Danielle. Thank you so much, and well done on such a good success last year and in the last couple of years, having started in 2020. I can't wait to hear and watch everything that you're doing, and somehow be a part of it. And so thank you so much for your support on my webinar today. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
So thanks, Danielle. Again, that's her card, her details there, if you want to take a snapshot. And again, I do send this afterwards, getting lots of claps actually on the webinar chat. So I hope, Danielle, you can see that as well, because that was super exciting to be able to do that. Now, we've got quite a few slides just if you want to take any snapshots of these. This is something actually picked up from Danielle's website. And so I've put the link up there so that you can have a quick look. It's about how to attending your events or exhibitions sustainably. I particularly like bring your own bottle. I know I've mentioned that before for your waters. Going digital with your collateral. I spoke last webinar about me getting some business cards that were seedable, so I've finally got those. So these are my business cards with they're seeded paper, and on the back is the QR code. So you don't have to take my card now, you can just use the QR code. And if you did use it, then you can obviously plant it and once you've finished with it anyway. And also, like, sharing your story. I think that's the biggest thing now, is going, what are you doing? What are you doing? How does it work? How does it work? So that's brilliant there. So I actually met Danielle as well at the Barbican. We did we were invited to a forum by Glenn at the Barbican. And again, you might just want to take a quick shot at this. This is a fully sustainable menu. It's just a good example. Some people are, they're doing this already. Some people want ideas. So, or just an alternative. So feel free to, again, take a picture of this. It was really good discussion points. We talked about DGR packages, the accreditations. the reality versus practicality as well, how practical the cost, and it doesn't always have to be expensive. It's actually just having that time to think about how to do this as well. And so then I attended the sustainability show, which I mentioned before, and on the right of this slide is all the suppliers that were there. So again, feel free to take a snapshot of people that are investing in this now on either venues or EV companies, and all sorts of suppliers there. And so for venues, as we mentioned, just to sort of reiterate, shout about what you're doing, in whether it's only a little bit or a lot. And event buyers, if you know what your questions are, have those ready from what is your company doing to ask those venues. Is food waste one of the priorities? What are those 3 priorities? Food waste seems to be the one that everyone's able to talk about a bit easier as well. QR codes for menus, and like I've just shown my business card and things, that there's pros and cons to that, because you don't want everybody to be on their phone, but on the other hand, it's very sustainable. So again, it's about the reality and practicality of it all. So these are just very quick snapshots. I've got 3 venues: IET, Savoy Place, which Danielle mentioned there, and they've got those accreditations. That's their sustainable events webpage as well, if you want to take a look at that. And this is just an example of some of the stuff on their webpage, and they then have more about energy, the air quality, the catering there. Why Boston Lakes I always talk about, because they are a leader as well in their sustainability. Again, this is what's on their a snapshot of one of their pages. They've got so many blogs, so many things they're doing. So again, feel free to take a snapshot of that. And then Lime Venue Portfolio, and I think this is where it's harder for a group of properties, and this is a consortium of properties, and they have green accreditation, so that's where we are trying to work towards making everything as sustainable as possible, and the venues have their own sustainable policies as well. So so that's like snapshots for those. And then we talked about the accreditation. So GreenGauge, EcoSmart, these are the accreditations to start looking out for if you're not already. You've got other companies that can do courses and things. So that's all up there. So again, feel free to take a snapshot of that. And that gives you some ideas of just sort of pinpointing really. And then on to exhibitions. So this is the part where I always talk about stuff that's going on in the UK. I just choose to do the UK stuff at the moment, just because I've got family, and the venues that I see, a lot of them are coming to these shows in either London, Leeds or Birmingham anyway. So the next one I'm going to is Convene at the end of January. So if anybody's there, then do let me know and I'll see you there. Oh yeah, and Nikki is a hosted sort of supplier for that as well. So Nikki Busey's just actually made a comment about getting accredited with GreenGauge. If you're a corporate buyer and you would like to be hosted, then get in touch with Nikki. She's on this chat here, and she can help sort that out as well. So that's a snapshot of the industry exhibitions. Again, another shout out to the BNC, just because they just sent my email out, and I got so many people signing up for this from the BNC. So I said to them, I'll just highlight the stuff that they've got going on. Their website's at the bottom, so get in touch with them if you wanted to do anything with them. And they did actually on I think it was the June webinar last year, they even did a blog about the webinar, which was absolutely lovely, if anybody wanted to read that there. So then finally, I'm talking about the latest trends for 2023. I always work in sort of short chunks, Charlotte said, I think summer show is being rescheduled till March. Okay, thanks for that. So in 6 weeks chunks, I normally work. So we've now got 5 weeks till half term. That's where the half term is. Well, I think we're probably all aware of that. And when the Easter holidays are now as well. And so looking into the next quarter, I spoke about these summer events. Easter to summer holidays, we know, is going to be high demand. So I did quickly put down the dates. These are the full weeks from 17th of April to July. So that's summer. If anyone's thinking of doing a summer event, these are the full weeks without any bank holidays in it. So again, feel free to take a snapshot of that. Just seeing that Nikki's put a link to her MySbook registration if you wanted to go as a hosted buyer with Nikki. So that's on the chat there. Again, as I said before, 2022 was the rebuild year, and 2023 is the settling year. So we're very much looking forward to what the year ahead brings. Thursday is back to being the peak night. Wednesday and Tuesday are the next busy dates. Mondays and Fridays are a great time for reduced rates, particularly during the day, you know, obviously because there's less people coming in now. This is something you might want to take a snapshot of as well, the price per head. This is the latest trend from the Business of Events article and a survey that was done by Venue Performance. And again, just highlighting this, that the price per head for conference and events has increased by 109% in London, and the sizes have changed as well. So that's 10 o'clock, so I should have stopped by now. As of November 2022, across the capital, it was £100, which was £80, and the size is growing. But a lot of that is because a lot of the exhibition, a lot of the conferences have moved from 2020 to 21, so that is understandable. What's it going to be like this year? And then there's things like recruitment, cost of energy, when people are booking in advance, obviously factors all that in, and then they are predicting that the average event size is going to raise to 126 people and the price per head to sit at 167. So just something to be mindful of. It depends where you're looking, it depends what rates you've got negotiated. And then just to finish off, latest trends, if you're done with the UK and everything that is on offer here, Malta is somewhere that's just so popular for conference events from the UK because the flights are so easy. They were one of the best during COVID to be able to put packages together for people that were coming over for their conference and events, and so do bear in mind that there's so many other opportunities now that we can go abroad. Some people are doing it already, some people are like, I don't even know where to start now. So personally I'd say, why don't you start in Malta? So anybody that does need any help with any of their industry knowledge and venue finding, I do these 3 webinars a year. I am at the exhibitions and industry events. Again, anybody that wants a snapshot of how does it work as a venue finder, this is how I work. So I use Calendly as well, so on my auto signature you can book a time with me as well, so feel free to do that if you need any help or want any more information there. So then finishing off, finally, just want to say thank you to everybody for coming. The next 2 webinar dates are the 26th of April and the 13th of September. If you've got any questions, let me know. If there's anything you want to hear more details on, then do let me know. And I've put the link up there, buymeacoffee.com/Lindsay. This is free. If anybody does want to buy me a virtual coffee, feel free to do that. You can donate to that, and then when I'm out and about, then I'll obviously have my little coffee breaks there and then. So that closes it off now. I did go a couple of minutes over in the end. Hope you found it useful. Do sign up to future ones. I will send this on afterwards, and then with that will be how to sign up for the next ones. There'll be Danielle's details as well, and of course do let me know if there's anything you want me to cover on the next webinar. So I'll close this down now. Everybody's saying thank you, love it, thank you so much. I had about 70, I think it went up to 80, attendees at one point. So that's absolutely brilliant, and everyone's signing off now. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you as always for your support. Or let's stop sharing. There we go. Thank you for your support. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.